How much can you lift, bro? Once you start working out for a while, you get lean enough to where you can actually see your muscle. A lot of people start to think that you're jacked and you're super strong, but that might not be the case. So I just got done with my first powerlifting meet less than a week ago. I'm gonna go over the footage here and show you what my lifts were in the squat, bench, and deadlift. Talk a little bit about powerlifting meets, how it works. It was a lot of fun. I was really excited about how it worked out. So let's look at this footage. So first off, we have the squat. Now this was my first attempt at 308 pounds. So when you go into a powerlifting meet, you want to start off easy on your first attempt. So you have the 3 lifts: squat, bench, and deadlift. And you start out with the squat, and you don't want to go straight to your max, because if you don't make the lift, if it's maybe you pick a weight that's too heavy, if you don't make it, you can't go down in weight. You can only stay the same or go up. So if you miss that lift and it was too heavy, and you miss all 3, then you're out. You don't even get to do the rest of the bench and deadlift, you're done. So the way it worked was there were 3 flights of 13 people each. It wasn't a really big meet. So the first flight of 13 go through all 3 lifts, and it's like a minute at the most. One person goes, as soon as you're done, they strip the weight, put it on, next person comes out. They do all 3 of their lifts. So while they're finishing up their last couple rounds, I started warming up, and I was like 2/3 of the way down showing on the list for my flight. So I thought, I got time. They were finishing up the first flight, so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the bathroom, be ready to go. Don't wanna have to pee or anything. And I came out of the bathroom, and my wife's there, because my wife and my dad both went with me, and she's like, you're up, you're the first one, you gotta go, because I had the lowest squat in the second flight, so they wanna go based on what your numbers are. You give it to them the day before when you weigh in, which for this, I'm in the 90 kilogram weight class. And so I was the lowest squat in that second group. So I was like, oh shoot, I ran over, getting my belt, getting up on stage and about to get on. They're like, oh, we're not starting yet. We're good, you're good. I was like, oh man, that would have been bad, because as soon as they call that the bar is loaded when it's your turn, you have 1 minute to get under there and start the lift. And if you don't, then it's just a no lift in that case. And you see, that was pretty easy. So you want to pick something easy so you get it done, and then you're good to go. And I picked that number based on my max squat that I've done so far. I wasn't planning on getting close to maxing out when I was training. This was 320 pounds I did in the garage about a week and a half prior. And you see it moved pretty easy. So with the lifts I was doing at home, the heavy ones, I was guessing I was around 7 to 10% below whatever my max was. That was 320, and it was pretty easy. So I figured, 308, and these are conversions because they do everything in kilograms. So I figured it was 140 kilograms, 308. That's a safe enough. And as we saw in the video, it went pretty well. So then second attempt, 330 pounds, it's 150 kilograms. So I thought, hey, we'll go ahead and make a PR for my personal best here and see how it goes. And I'll base my third attempt off of what that is. And that went up easy too. It looked like it was quicker than that 320 pound squat I did. And something to keep in mind with these is, as soon as you finish a lift, you have another, I can't remember if it's 30 seconds or a minute, to go over to the table and tell them what your next attempt is. If you make it, then they're gonna automatically bump it up 2.5 kilograms, which, roughly 5 pounds if you don't say anything. Or if you miss the lift, they'll keep it the same unless you tell them something higher. And I had like 5 seconds left. They're like, hey, we need to know what your next lift is, because I was just excited. Hey, I just did 330 pounds, that was easy. And they would have only bumped it up, 5 pounds. So if there's someone there with you waiting to remind you, tell them your next lift, or just keep in your head, okay, as soon as I'm done, do your next lift. And as you see here, there's 3 white, there's 3 judges. So you've got 1 straight on and 1 on each side checking. So making sure you get all the way down for your depth, that as soon as you start coming back up, there's no hesitating where you start going back down or anything like that. And 3 whites, it's a good lift. If you have 2 whites and 1 red, still a good lift. 2 reds or 3 reds, then it's a no lift. Both lifts so far got 3 whites. So based on how easy that one felt, I picked 150, I think, kilograms for the last one. No, 157.7, which is 347 pounds. I thought about going up higher, like closer to 360, because when I was planning out my training and everything, I wanted to try to hit 365 on the squat. I didn't start training legs seriously till about 3.5 years ago, and when I started squats, I'd hurt my back a lot when I was younger because my spine is crooked. When I started out, I was only doing like 115 pounds, and I've slowly built up over the last 3 years to get my squat up, and now I don't have any issues. I go full range of motion for what I can do, all the way down, all the way up, no problem. But I wanted to hold back just a little bit because I don't want to go too close to actual failure. I want to do something I was confident I could get, and I don't want to hurt my back in case it's too much weight, I can't get it up, and then I'd still be fine for the bench press, but then it would really hurt my deadlift if I threw out my lower back. So went with this here, 157. And for this, they have commands. Once you get up and you're in place and you're steady, they tell you to squat. You squat all the way down, back up, and then you wait till they tell you to rack.
Push! Push!
Go, go, go!
Yeah.
And you got to be careful that you don't rack too soon, because they say, you know, I just hit a second PR, 347. That's 27 pounds more than what I've ever done. You get up there and you're excited. You don't want to just get up and go rack, or else it's going to count as a no lift. So 347 was my top squat there, 157.5 kilograms, and it felt fine. I think I definitely could have gotten close to 360, if not 365. So plans for next time with training everything, that's probably what we'll be shooting for, or possibly even higher depending on how training goes. And after that, we move on to bench press. So the third flight went through all their squats, then the first flight went through all the bench presses, and it moved on to my flight. So once again, as flight 1 was finishing up, like their second round, I started warming up, and my left pec was feeling kind of tight, like cramping almost. I was making sure I was eating normally, had pre-workout, all that type of stuff, and continuing to fuel yourself throughout it. I was surprised at how easy those 2 squats felt, because I shouldn't have been really, because every time I've done my heavy singles training, it was after already doing, you know, a few sets of 5 or 4 or 3 heavy, so the weight felt heavier. But just warming up and then going straight into those heavy singles, you have a lot more strength built up. So I didn't keep that in mind when I was initially picking my lifts, and that's why they're definitely pretty easy. So with bench press, we came out with the first attempt of 107.5 kilograms, which is roughly 235 pounds. I knew I could get that for like 5 reps at home. I just want to be really careful since I was feeling a little weird in my left pec initially. I want to get a good first lift so I don't miss all 3 lifts and then get disqualified. So you see that went up easy, 3 whites, no problem. And the best I'd done at home about a week prior was 265 here. I'd done 275, it's personal PR, but that was just a touch and go. So this 265 I did here with a pause and then pushing back up, and it was pretty hard, so I wasn't feeling great. I had hurt my back about 12 days out doing heavy deadlift. I felt fine, but the next day it was just out, and it took almost a whole week, couple chiropractor visits before it got better. So my back was hurting when I was doing that lift still. And so then we move into the second lift here. It was 259 pounds, so I thought, okay, I'm gonna get close. I know I got 265. I should be safe with 259, 260-ish, and see how it goes. Because it's a different thing mentally, like I'm not used to pausing because I just started doing that a couple weeks ago. I should have trained that way the whole time, but got it down, pushed, and that went up pretty quick. So I felt good after that one. I felt confident. I was like, okay, I'm stronger, I'm loosened up. 3 whites so far. Every lift I've had is 3 whites. So I was thinking, should I go for 270? That'll be a PR. I definitely have 265. Or should I just go for 275? So after looking at the footage of that, seeing how quick it went up, my dad was like, yeah, that looked easy. I think you definitely have 275, maybe even 285. So I went over there, I was like, I'm not gonna push it. We'll go with 275. So we got that on there, feeling good, psyched myself up ahead of time. Get the bar off all the way down. And I got almost halfway up. I feel like if I could have just got my elbows over that 90-degree point, I could have kept pushing it up. And as you can see there, my first all 3 reds. So 260 was the max bench I got. I think I definitely could have done 270. Gonna keep working on that. Bench press is one of the things I've had people say to me, like, man, I feel like you should be bench pressing more. You look way stronger than only being able to do that. You should be able to do 300, but I've got pretty long arms and I've had shoulder issues. I've dislocated both my shoulders 4 or 5 times. And it seems like every time I bench press, start getting up into the mid 200s, one of my shoulders starts hurting, and then I got to take time off, and it's like I'm starting over again. And didn't realize until a few years ago that I was bench pressing like this and using a lot of my delts, which is why a lot of that was happening. I learned to arch and retract the shoulder blades and actually have an angle in the arms using the chest. I feel it way more now. And I've been feeling a lot better during this training. I hit PRs during training, and I'm gonna keep training the same way with all my bench presses now. All of them are gonna come down, pause, and push up because I feel it so much more in my chest. And I have a feeling I'm gonna make a whole lot better gains this year doing that. So 260, Hopefully next time we'll get 285 or maybe even more. Excited about it, but that was a lot of fun. And once I got done with the bench press, I was like, okay, you know, it was a little bit of a defeat, but no big deal. You know, for me, I'm just gauging this against myself, not everyone else, because I'm one of the lowest bench pressers out there. And deadlift, that's where I've been really making a lot of progress. So let's move on to that and see how it went. Starting out with 418 pounds. Went up easy. I don't know if you heard them yell 3 red. I was thinking, what, did I miss my lift? But as soon as you get done, you see up on the top right of that screen, it shows what the next lifter's doing and how they need to lift it up so they can easily change the weights. So when he yelled 3 red, I was thinking, what did I do wrong? I came up, I waited till he said to let it down, because on that, you just, as soon as they call you, you walk out when you're ready, you grab the weight, pick it up, and hold it there till they tell you to put it back down. Unlike the bench press, that's the hardest. You unrack, they tell you to start, you let it down, wait till they tell you to press, then you gotta wait till they say to rack. And I saw a lot of people miss those cues. That's why in the bench press, especially for me, I've always liked to get to the top, hold for a second, and then put the bar back so I've seen people go up really fast and miss the rack and almost drop the weight on their head. So being in control all the time is definitely important. But for this, 3 whites, that was a really easy lift. My best at home here a couple weeks before, which this is where my back started hurting the day after this, even though this felt easy. This was 442 pounds.
It's easy. It's easy. Huh? Yeah, look how easy that is. So easy.
And that went up pretty easy, so I thought, okay, you know, 24 pounds less than that should be no problem. I'll have a good lift for all 3, so I'll at least have a total running, and then I'll try to push it from there. And since that one felt so easy, my warm-ups really didn't feel that great. I never really practiced deadlifting after squatting, even though it's been a long time. It was about 2 hours between each thing, so I did all 3 of my squats, and it was about 2 hours before I started bench press, and then about another 2 hours before deadlift. So you have time to rest. You're eating, hydrating, all that stuff, but still, I did just squat 2 PRs, and now I'm going into deadlift. So I started warming up. 135 was fine, 225 was okay. I did 315 for just a rep, and I was like, man, that feels heavier than I think it should. I was like, okay, don't worry about it, you'll be good. You know, just keep getting into it. And then, I don't know, about 10 minutes before going on to do that 418, I did 385, I think. And that felt better than 315. I was like, okay, that's a good sign. I'm warming up, ready to go. I was initially thinking, I'll do that easy lift, and then I'll shoot for 450, and then maybe 460, depending on how that felt. So that was really easy, so I thought, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and go for 457 on this second lift here.
Wait. Go. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad afterwards. He said, yeah, once it came off the ground, you were accelerating on the way up. So you definitely have a lot more than that. And that lift felt really good. A lot of people, when they would go out, they'd get down, grab the bar, they're squatting, cycling themselves up. I try not to do that anymore, because all that extra time squatting, you're just taking strength away from your legs. So I try to stand there, get myself in the right mindset. Okay, you're just gonna reach down, grab this, keep pulling until it comes off the ground. But I noticed watching this footage, I didn't pull my shoulders back and engage my last way I've been training to try to stay as stiff as possible, and my butt came up some before it came off the ground, and that causes you to lose some of the power because you're already pushing up, and now you've got to use your back to pull even more. So you see my butt came up and then it came off the ground. It wasn't a problem, but it's not ideal. You're stronger if you can keep it straight and almost just lift straight up off the ground, everything at one time. So final lift, I was thinking 262, that's what I was initially gonna do. That's only 5 pounds more, and that was really easy. So I thought, you know what, let's just go for 475, or it's 474. So I gave him that one. Came out here for the final lift.
Come on.
215 kilograms. And same thing with the butt here, comes up first. But as soon as it came off the ground, it was no problem. Good lift. So I was really excited about that. Every single lift I did, except for the bench press that I failed, were 3 white light. So form was good on everything, consistent on everything, hit depth on all my squats, paused on the benches, held everywhere I needed to, deadlifts, no problem. And I don't know if I could have hit 500 here, but I think I'm pretty close, because when I did that deadlift, I remember when I first hit 400 pounds, I was pulling really hard, and I remember getting lightheaded and my vision starting to go some. And then when I put it down, I had to sit down for a minute because it was really hard. And when I did this, I didn't have any hint of dizziness or anything. It was hard, and then as soon as it came off the ground, it moved and there was no problem. So super excited for what's gonna happen the next time. I'm definitely gonna be trying again for even more weight because it was a really fun experience. So my plans coming up next, I gained quite a bit of weight going into this for my bodybuilding show. Peak dehydrated, I was like 173 pounds. And for this, I weighed in at around 192 pounds. For the competition, I was planning on trying to get all the way up to close to the max of 198. But the last 3 months, I was just didn't want to eat. Like, I didn't see any point in trying to gain more weight just for the sake of it, because I was having trouble hitting my protein for the day just because I didn't feel like eating anymore. Like, I guess I've got around a 10-pound range where I'm just good. I'm not feeling that great if I try to push even more. And I definitely gained a lot more fat than I normally have. Like, I'm gonna be making a video soon showing my peak bodybuilding physique versus peak powerlifting physique, what it looks like, what's healthier, what's stronger, you know, what should you shoot for as far as aesthetics versus strength and all that. It's pretty interesting looking back and seeing how all this worked out, because I hit a lot of PRs. That was a 32-pound PR on my deadlift, and I definitely could have done a lot more. So a lot of fun there. I'm planning on starting to lose weight slowly over the next couple months, because I just don't really like being as heavy as I am right now. So maybe get back down to around 185, and then maybe in 5 or 6 months, I want to try to compete again in the 82.5 kilogram class, which is around 182 pounds. So just stay within a few pounds of that weight, and I can easily cut down a little bit. Just drop some water, weigh in, be good to go. Because in my age group, the 35 to 39 that I competed in, if I do a tested event, I can blow the squat and deadlift out of the water based on my age and that weight class. So I want to try to do that. It'd be cool to have my name on a couple state records, you know, for my age group, not for the overall, the open. I didn't compete in the open because I'm nowhere near close to some of these guys. There's a guy squatting 750. It was crazy. His eyes look like they're gonna pop out of his head. Deadlifting 650, benching, I forget, like almost as much as I'm deadlifting. It was crazy. But it is fun seeing everyone else doing that, talking to people. You start cheering for each other. And I really like this more than bodybuilding from the standpoint of it's not subjective. You have these standards, like this is what you have to do for your squat to pass. This is what you have to do for your bench press. This is what you have to do for your deadlift. And there's 3 judges watching you who know the rules, judging you based on that. And it's not just, oh, I think that guy's abs look better. I think that guy's thicker or fuller. That guy's more shredded. You know, it's really subjective in bodybuilding, and it's still a fun experience, but powerlifting to me, definitely a lot more fun. And I'm gonna start working in some powerlifting competitions along with the bodybuilding ones, because it was definitely a good time. So looking forward to that. If you want to see more of what I'm doing for training, check out Instagram at Camber Fitness. I'm always posting stuff there. I'm hitting a hypertrophy block of training now for the next couple months, getting back into the higher reps, building some more muscle as I'm cutting down a little bit. And I'll tell you what, doing a few sets of 12 is way harder than doing some heavy sets of like 3 or 4 reps. Like, I was dying on deadlifts and squats the other day. My chest felt like it was gonna explode from doing sets of 12 pause bench press, like only 175 pounds. It is so much harder when you pause the bar and not just going through all these reps in 25 seconds. It's taking over a minute to do these sets. So keep you updated on all that, how my training, all that's going, how dieting. Let me know if you have any specific videos or any questions about powerlifting in general, if you're looking to do that. So I'll see you guys in the next one.